up, YouTube gang? It's your girl Rosanna. I'm back at it again with another video. Alright, so today's video consists of me telling you the havoc I had with the recovery home. So I did write down some notes. I have some pointers, some tips that I wanted to go through, some bullet points just to kind of guide me so I don't get misled. I also want to say my first video went viral with the BBL video. I'm super happy. In 1 week, we already reached 4K views. I got brand new subscribers. So if you did subscribe to my channel, I appreciate you. And I love you and welcome to the gang. Welcome, welcome, welcome. The first thing that I want to go through is the recovery home that I did stay at. There was some good points and there was, I don't recommend. I just don't recommend it. I feel like for the amount of money I paid, you can stay at a recovery home for probably less and get more, or you can stay at a better place and pay just the same amount. So I stood for 5 days, 4 nights, and I paid $1,150. It was supposed to include my pickup from the airport, Miami airport, my transportation to my surgery and pickup from surgery, and then transport from post-op and also pre-op as well. I don't know if you watched my vlog, but I did have some trouble and pretty much I was placed somewhere else. It was a 35-minute drive. In the video, I did say it was an hour away, but it wasn't. It was a 35-minute drive. They said that they only do transportation within Miami, Florida. I did surgery in Weston, Florida at Bright Plastic Surgery with Dr. Brewster. So, with that being said, she, from the rip, told me, hey, I'm not going to be able to do your post-op rides and your pre-op and post-op rides. So I automatically knew, because of the situation, I was going to have to take an Uber and so forth. But I'll get into that a little bit later. So let's start off with the beginning of the recovery home. So this is like when I was flying. She never reached out to me to confirm my stay 2 days or even a day before I was coming out. I did reach out to her for 4 days before I had surgery, so like a random day of the week. And she told me, hey, don't worry, we usually confirm the stay at 2 days in. I said, okay, I just wanted, to be sure that you have me staying with you guys. So the day that I did get confirmed for my surgery, that was a Saturday, which was 2 days before I was supposed to come. She didn't call me. I waited until that Sunday and I did hit her up after the whole misconfusion of Glam Plastic Surgery canceling me with Dr. Zach. I did hit her up and I said, hey, I don't know if I should stay with you anymore because of my situation. And she told me, don't worry about it, hon. I can make it work. I'm still going to pick you up. I'm still going to take you to surgery. Don't worry about it. Don't stress about it, and so forth. So I did have to reach out to her. She did not confirm with me my stay. When I flew, she never sent the address so I can Uber there myself. I flew into Fort Lauderdale, which was out of, the way. I did go to my pre-op first, as you've seen in my video, and then I went back to Miami to pick up my belongings. But as I'm going to Miami airport, which is where she was originally going to pick me up, she was not answering me. So I was like, listen, just send me the address and I'll go there myself. And she just was not answering me. I literally grabbed my luggage. I literally called her like 4 times. She finally picked up the phone. She's like, hey, my phone died, but I'm going to send a car for you. So I said, okay, no problem. She asked me where I was standing. I told her, oh, I'm standing at 31. I'm outside of the place so like cars can come pick me up at the area. She said, no problem. I waited an hour, literally an hour. After having a really long day, after having a really long flight, after pre-op, after like everything that I went through, I'm sitting here. Literally, I've been traveling for like 10 hours at this point, probably even more. And this lady made me wait 1 hour to send me an Uber. She didn't even come and pick me up herself. She sent me an Uber, which I could have sent to myself. As I was waiting there, she was very short texted with me. I'm like, hey, are you coming? She's like, yeah. I'm like, what time? Because I've been here for a while. Don't worry, I'll be there. Like, she was just very short. Like, when I texted her, she was just very like, I'm coming. Don't worry. Okay. Yeah. Like, girl, are you coming or not? I could have Ubered myself. But anyway, I waited an hour, and that's the whole point of it. When I finally did get into this Uber, the place was only 7 minutes away from the airport, which I was happy about because I was already traveling for so long. So I just wanted to get to the recovery home and just lay down. I'm going to tell you, the place was urban. It was an urban area. I know Miami has its ghetto parts. We was in the ghetto part. So I kind of was shook. Like, I'm like, but I'll insert a clip here. And girl, that was like, it was urban. It was an urban area. I pulled up to the place and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what did I get myself into? But, however, when I did go in, the home was a beautiful home. I'm not gonna lie. You seen the tour. Inside looked it completely different than what the outside did. I actually went on a walk with one of my roommates. I was recovering. We went outside for a walk and we turned right the fuck around because it was just ratchet. So I didn't show you that, but I do have that clip as well. It was a lot. But when I walked in, it was a beautiful home. The home was semi-clean, and I'm gonna elaborate on that. The home was clean. Like, from the looks of it, it looked very clean. After a while, after the girls started getting more surgeries, there was like a new girl there every day. So at some point in my stay, there was like a good 8 of us. And with 8 of us there in all different rooms, using only like 2-3 bathrooms that we did have in the home, it became dirty quickly. There was only one nurse there the whole time, and she can't take care of everybody and also clean up at the same time. She did do her best, but there was like blood on the walls, blood on the floor. There was blood in like trailing into the living room. It like became kind of not clean, if that makes sense. It wasn't really clean, but in the beginning it was clean. Once more girls came, it wasn't clean. I just want to elaborate. The place was way too cold. From the rip, I walked in and the temperature in Miami was like a good 83 degrees. I walk into the home's at 62 degrees. Why? It was so cold that people that was already there told me, hey, you can have any of the rooms because we're gonna just stay outside. Like, we're gonna stay in the living room, which was kind of not as cold. There was vents there, but there was more vents inside the room for some reason. So it was really cold. The girls that just had surgery was sleeping in the living room on chairs rather than in a room on their beds. That's how cold it was. I get hot at nighttime, so I just chose to stay in my room. Even in my room, I had 3 thick blankets and I was still cold. I was shivering, and it made my recovery harder on me because I was shaking so hard and my body was so tense, and I was trying just to recover. Like, I didn't want to be like shivering like I was when I came off of anesthesia in the house, and I was. And then when you ask them to turn up the heat, they tell you no. Straight up, like, no. The owner, her name was Daya, and the owner hounds you for your payment. So I came in, I did my little tour, I spoke to the nurse, explaining what was going on, when was my surgery. I had to fill out some papers there. Immediately, she's like, oh, you have to send Daya the money. I'm like, okay, no problem. She was calling me, like, send me my money, cash app me my money. Mind you, if you cash app the money, it's at $45 she charged me extra. So on top of the $11.50, I had to pay an extra $45. So mind you, I asked her, I said, hey, are you going to come to pick up the cash? She said, no, you can send it to me, either Zelle, which I didn't have, my Zelle was locked for some reason, or you can Cash App it to me. If you're going to Cash App it to me, it's an extra $45. So I had the cash. Instead of her coming to get the cash, she didn't want to. I had to Cash App it to her, and it was extra $45. So mind you, keep that in mind, because every extra thing that I paid, I had to pay extra. So she lies about what's included in the packages. In the package, my package was supposed to include a pickup from the airport, a ride to my pre-op, a ride to my surgery, pick up for my surgery, drop off for my medications, and a ride to my post-op. And then if I wanted massages, that was going to be an extra charge. Because of my situation where they canceled and everything, so I sent her the money. And I said, hey, I just want to make sure that, you're still taking me to my surgery tomorrow, because I already paid for my pre-op. She said, yes, of course, I'm going to take you. I'm going to take you. We're going to pick you up from surgery. We're going to take your medications to get dropped off and picked up. And then we're going to take you to your post-op. So I said, okay. I sent her the money. Boom. The next day comes my surgery date. I'm like getting ready for surgery. Are you going to be on your way at this time? She's like, no, you have to find your own way. I said, but you literally just confirmed. Matter of fact, I'm going to post up the text message right here. What? So she basically tells me, no, I speak to 1,000 girls a day. And I said, well, when did that become my problem? You literally confirmed with me yesterday before I even paid you the money. If not, I would have took my business elsewhere, somewhere that I could have stood in a hotel. I could have did something else. I could have found a different accommodations because of the situation that I was in. And you specifically told me, don't worry, girl, I got you. I'm going to accommodate you. And now you're telling me no, the day of surgery. No, what I'm going to do is you're going to have to find your own way, and then we'll pick you up from surgery and we'll go from there. I was so pissed. I was so livid. My heart rate was rating like to 1,000. Like I literally was shaking because I was about to get ghetto in there. Girls that were already there was like, girl, you're about to have surgery. Don't get your heart rate up over this girl. Like, she's very unprofessional. She's very disrespectful. She's very rude. Don't let that affect your surgery. So I was like, okay, cool. Like, you know what? You're absolutely right. I'm going to go into my surgery with a positive outlook. And that's what I did. Sis, she's a liar. She's a liar. And the text says it all. There was a conversation when I finally met her. She came my third day in, and I finally met her, and she was like, oh, you from Newark? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, oh, I'm from East Orange. I said, okay. And she was like, that's why you rude. I said, I'm not rude. I said, that's why you're rude. Yeah, it was ghetto. It was ghetto. The nurses were literally the sweetest nurses ever. Like, the sweetest. They cook, clean, they're on your beck and call, they conversate with you, they make sure you're good, they check on you, they make sure that you get your medicines are good. I had Miss Rose, Miss Linda, Miss Patricia, and I forgot the last one's name. The last one was she was nice to me, but she was a little unprofessional to the other girls and with the driver. But that's a whole nother thing. She was nice to me. She was so good to me. I like her. Moving on to surgery day. Surgery day, I already explained to you. She already changed her mind about taking me to surgery. So I Ubered there myself. I was there for a very long time. She did text me while I was in surgery, like, where are you? We still didn't get a call to come pick you up and so forth. But when I did wake up, a driver was there to pick me up. So the driver that picked me up was unprofessional and ghetto AF. Now, when I say, one, he was a male, which I have no problem with getting picked up with a male driver. Cool. If I fall, you can pick me up. No. He was male, and I'm also not against gays either. Like, he wasn't understanding, he wasn't compassionate, he wasn't professional. Seemed like it was like his first day on the job. I was his first pickup. And I was, because he told me he was from Georgia and she fired him before, and now they're like brothers or sisters. They're like best friends, but like considered her brother. Like, she considers him a brother, and she pays him to come pick up girls like when she can't do it or something like that. Came out, and he was like, oh, like, you have to get up. And I'm like, I need help. Like, mind you, I'm just coming out of surgery, so I'm in pain because I'm already sitting on my butt. I'm getting wheelchaired out by the nurse, and he tells the nurse, where's her medications? You didn't give me her scripts. So she's like, yeah, we were late, so here's her script. He's like, oh, I can't get them now, it's too late, because I did get out of surgery at 8:30. I've gotten them because a lot of the places over there don't close until like 11:30. And there's also 24-hour pharmacies around the area because of how high the surgery rate is. But however, he said he wasn't going to be able to pick them up that night. Cool, whatever. Which means I'm driving 35 minutes away and I don't have medications when I go home. Okay, it's 8:30 and I still have the rest of the night to survive. Okay. He's telling me, oh, you got to get up. I said, well, can you help me up? Mind you, I had a tube in my throat, so I'm very soft-spoken at that time. And I'm like, can you help me up? He's like, so he's grabbing me, but he's grabbing me kind of hard. Like, whatever. I lay in the trunk with like an air mattress, and I kind of black out. But all I remember is him driving like a maniac. Literally, he was careless with his driving with me, hitting corners very hard, speeding, beeping the horn, playing loud music while I'm like just got out of recovery. The only good thing that man did for me that day was I asked him, hey, can you give me some water? Like, I'm thirsty. I'm thirsty. I feel like I'm going to pass out if I don't have water. He's like, I got my water bottle. And I'm like, do you mind? And he's like, yeah, I drank out of it though. And I'm like, I don't care. Like, at this point, I don't care. Like, and I was ratchet and I did drink out of his water. So we finally pull up to the recovery home. The nurse comes out to meet him. I'm coming out the car. Now I'm starting to kind of get into like waking up, getting down like on this step stool type of thing. And I'm backing my little tushy up. And he's like, oh, yo ass fat. I said, what? Like, I was like still out of it, but I looked up and I said, what you say? He was like, oh, your shit fat. And I'm like, oh, thanks. Like, okay. He's helping me inside. So now, mind you, it's dark. It's nighttime out. So I finally get inside the room. I finally sit up like, and he's like, oh, you actually cute. He was like, you look good as fuck. So I'm like, I just felt uncomfortable. I just felt like that wasn't the time and place for that. I'm literally still on anesthesia and I don't feel well, and you're telling me my ass is fat and I'm actually cute. Like, you okay? The first night, the nurse Linda, shout out to you, she did stay in the room the whole entire night. Like, the whole entire night. She made sure I was good. She got up every time ow. She fed me soup. You seen the clip. Literally, I'm laying down. She was feeding me my soup. She fed me my banana. She did everything, and I appreciate her to the fullest. That night was a very hard night for me because I didn't have any pain medication. They gave me 2 Tylenols and 2 Tylenol PMs, and that's all I survived with the first night. The meals were great. Don't get me wrong. The meals were awesome. They were always on time. I had breakfast, I had lunch, and I had dinner, and I had snacks in between. They always were. Sometimes they were brought to my room, like if I just wasn't doing good that day. Most of the time I did eat in the kitchen with the girls, and we conversated, and we actually had meals. Driver, Kevin, did the salmon that I showed you in the clip of my BBL surgery. That was the one night he did cook for us, and he cooked amazing. And we did grace. I felt like I was home. It felt comfortable. So I give them that. They do feed you. Let me go back to my first night. If you do not have your medications, which I didn't, so when I finally, the next day, he went to go get my medications, he took all day. So one of my roommates did give me an oxy, and I survived 4 hours off of that, and then I took a Tylenol for the next 4 hours. So that's 8 hours, and then he finally showed up with my antibiotics. I didn't take my antibiotics for the first time till it was 6:30 p.m. That's when I finally got my medications. I thought I put everything out on the table so that I can coordinate myself, I have to take these, I have to take these, I was taking a lot of meds. Somehow, some way, I guess the nurse cleaned up and threw everything in my bag, and then when I went to go grab it, I left my oxys in my purse. And the whole 3 days, so remember when I kept saying, oh, I just took pain meds? I wasn't taking pain meds. I was taking nausea medication that was putting me to sleep. It says promethazine on it, in a pill form. I don't know why, but they were knocking me out, so I thought they were pain meds, and I wasn't taking pain meds for the first 3 days. Nurse Linda came in, I think on her second shift, and she was like, girl, where's your medicine? And I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, your pain meds. And I'm like, it's right there. And she's like, no, baby, these are your pills so you don't throw up. And I'm like, so where's my pain meds? So at first I thought, oh my God, someone stole it. I wonder who, the person that got it, but he didn't. It was in my purse, and I didn't take it. And it was my own fault because I wasn't paying attention to what I was taking. But in my defense, I should have gotten help with that. They should have made a schedule for me, not me have to do it myself. And yeah, I was in pain and I was recovering, and I wasn't even worried about that. We're gonna move on to post-op. So now I'm 1 day post-op, and I have to go to my post-op appointment. She already told me I'm not paying for, I'm not taking you. So I did weigh out the options of taking an Uber. The Uber there was probably $40, and $40 back, $80. And she offered to take me and then pick me up for $75. So I just paid the $75 to her. That I had in cash. I just gave it to the driver, Kevin. Do what you will with it. I don't care if you steal it, whatever, here you go. So I did pay the $75. So I saved $5. That's it. I'm going to post-op. He takes 2 girls with us. They were lovely girls. I really do like them. My post-op appointment was scheduled for 1 p.m. and we literally waited last minute. He waited last minute playing around. Oh, I have to use the bathroom. Oh, looking at girls' butts and making derogative comments. He took them. He got lost 8 times, taking them in Miami to their post-op. So we had to go to 2 different places. I was late. I called and I'm like, hey. And in the car, I don't know if you've seen, I was bleeding. I wasn't on pain medications. I was nauseous as hell. And it was hot as hell outside. And he kept leaving me in the car without the AC running and stuff like that. And I was just I thought I was dying. I literally, in one of my clips, I did say I feel like I'm gonna die. I feel like I'm nauseous. I feel like I'm gonna pass out. And I didn't put all of it in because I didn't want to get demonetized because he left the radio blasting in the back. However, I was going through it. I had to call my post-op and tell them, hey, I'm gonna be late. Not once, but twice. 3 times. 3 times I had to reschedule because he got lost with me in the car. I didn't get to my post-op till 2 hours later. Then after my post-op and they check you out, he's there. He gets lost with me in the car again. So another 2 hours. I was in the car with no pain medication, no food, no water, in the heat, music blasting, him making derogative comments for 4 hours. Girl, and to think that the owner would be like, hey, I'm going to refund you back that $75 because he got me lost and he got me late and everything else. It was just, she didn't, and it was unprofessional to the max. Unprofessional. When we finally get back to the house, him and one of the nurses who were nice to me, they were going back and forth with each other because, like I said, he does make outrageous comments. And she just was not going for it. And she was cursing him out the whole time. Like, literally, like, when I say that we're in a screaming match, and they probably made the whole house uncomfortable, they were in a screaming match and they made the whole house uncomfortable. Massages. I wasn't going to travel 35 minutes away to do my massages with Bright Plastic Surgery. Plus, I heard they were ass anyway. They were 15 minutes. I'd rather pay the $100 for massages with my recovery home right in the comfort of where I was staying and them be an hour. The massages are horrible, like horrible, not them doing it, it's horrible on your body, especially if they do it incorrectly. However, so the first day I come back from post-op after being lost in the car for 4 hours, my body's stiff, I'm feeling like shit, and now it's time for my massage. So I'm sitting here like preparing myself, like, oh my God, mind you, I'm not on pain medicine because I'm taking the wrong thing. And she comes and this lady opens my incisions. One, that's illegal in the state of Florida, I believe. And two, you're not supposed to reopen your incisions. You're supposed to massage the fluid into the lymphatic system so that you can urinate it out. You are not supposed to reopen the incisions. She did. Sis touched me for like 10 minutes. She did like squeeze a lot of like the actual fat, like you seen the yellow fat that usually goes in, out of me. And I called it a day. I said, you know what? You're not doing it correctly. And I was crying. I was in pain. It was uncomfortable for me. I was pissed. I paid $100 for a 10-minute massage. So that was the first massage. The rest of my massages I did get with the owner. She finally showed up, showed face, and she massaged all the girls. She did a great job massaging. I'm not gonna lie. She knew what she was doing. She knew how to touch you, how soft to touch you, how hard to touch you, when to touch. Like, she knew what she was doing. However, the first time I still wasn't on pain medications because I didn't know, taking the wrong pain medications because I didn't know until like the third day. I was crying the whole time, and literally she was laughing the whole time, laughing at me, straight laughing. There's girls sitting there and she's literally laughing like, oh, you're such a baby cry. Oh my God. Like, you need to toughen up. Or, oh my God, this is nothing. You could do it. Like, I don't understand why you crying. You're the baby cry of the group. Like, literally saying stuff like that. And that's just something I don't think you would say to your clients. Like, just let them cry it out and you fucking do the massage at that point. When she did my third massage, that's when I was just like, I had pain medicine. I didn't cry. I took it like a champ. Moving on. After the massages with Daya, it comes down to my last day. Last night, there were so many girls that were coming in to the place. There were so many girls that were inside of the recovery home that, you know, one nurse can't always just keep up with all of them. So the last night, I didn't get checked on at all. Like, and I don't know if you've seen, my second or my third day was like my worst day. I couldn't breathe at one point. I was walking around with a walker. I think this was my second day because I still wasn't taking pain medicine. But at that point, it's like you check on all your girls. And literally, I showered by myself, got dressed by myself, literally did everything by myself and did everything on my own. And I didn't get checked on not one time before I left. So now, moving on to my last day. I'm getting dressed. I did my last massage. Cool. Paid her. Mind you, I'm paying her through Cash App. I have to send her $25 each time. Cool. Whatever. And I'm packing up to leave, and I'm getting ready. And one of the nurses is arguing with one of two girls that were staying there. After that whole situation, I call her and I said, hey, she just left. And they were like talking about going out, clubbing or whatever. Her, the driver, and she had like guests coming over. And they were talking about going clubbing or going out to dinner, whatever the situation is. So I did text her ahead of time. It was Saturday, April 30th. So now time to fly home. So I text her like, hey, are you going to take me home? And she's like, no. it's the weekend. I'm going out. Like, I know on your website it says that you don't travel, like, do, you know, any transportation on Sundays, but today's Saturday. And she's like, yeah, it's from 8 to 4. So why didn't you say that when you see me getting ready and you were here? I would have left early. I would have been at the airport. Anyway, long story short, I Ubered myself home, and that was that. The recovery house, I just wouldn't recommend. So now I'm going to tell you where I stood. I stood at MLC. It's called My Little Concierge Recovery. It's in Miami, Florida. The owner is Daya. The nurses are absolutely great. So if my nurse is on here, she did subscribe to my channel, you guys were great. It was not you that was unprofessional. It was the owner, and I just don't recommend it. And that is my take on my recovery home in Miami. When I did go to my post-op place, there was a lot of people that said the recovery homes were bootlegged, they were ratchet, they were ghetto. I stood in one, so I knew the pain, and I knew the situation, and I knew the cards that I was dealt. This is my body. I am 16 days post-op. So I do have my faja on. You can see I do have a faja on and a tank top under. Just a faja because I'm on my 3rd hook. And this is how I'm looking. I'm still very swollen. But the booty though, like, do you see this? I think Dr. Brewster did an amazing job. Like, he snatched my waist. You can see how swollen I am. But he did snatch my waist, and you can see the booty. I didn't have that. Remember my try on haul? I didn't have that. But yeah, I love my results. I think it's great. And I want to thank you guys so much for joining me. And thank you guys so much for hearing me out. And thank you so much for letting me rant. And thank you so much for just following my journey. It's been something, but I am all right. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling healthy. Happy belated Mother's Day to all the mommies out there. I did go out to dinner and I did use my BBL pillow, but that will be in next week's video, just so I can update you and tell you how I'm doing. And then I want to show you the body without the faja next week on my 3rd week. But yeah, thank you guys so much for joining me, and I love you guys so much. Bye.